Alright, I'm gonna ask for something, and I know I'm asking for a lot, but can I have more, like, real tanks in Marvel Rivals? And I know that sounds bad, but here's what I mean, right? So, on release, like, there's different kinds of tanks. You have your anchor tank, you have your off tanks, and you have your control tanks, right? Control tanks want to take space, off tanks do a lot of damage. On release, the tanks we got were Thing. He's not an anchor tank. He is he is an off tank. The goal of Thing is to do damage. You want to do damage, secure picks. He's not that good at it, and he's like a brawl tank. But like it's out. What I'm talking about with control, anchor, that stuff, that's outside of brawl, dive, poke. That's outside of that. Like dive tanks are primarily uh, off tanks because they're there to do damage, distract, get picks, that kind of stuff. But like an anchor tank would be your Mag, Strange, Groot, Emma. Groot is like a combination between a control tank. He uses his walls to control the space, block people off, control healing, and an anchor tank because he is the anchor of the team. You can play him as the main tank. You can solo tank him. You can play him in two tanks where he plays as an off tank or a control tank, or you can play him in two tanks where he is your anchor tank and someone else dives. Emma is a mix between an off tank and an anchor tank. She can anchor, she can do that stuff, but her kit's designed to do a lot of damage. She's made to do damage, get picks specifically on people out of position with her diamond form or people diving using her diamond form. And like grabbing someone's soul so that way they can't even leave when they go behind a wall. You cripple them and they have to leave. That's what her kit feels like it's designed for. I want more anchor tanks though. Not tanks that are off tanks. Since the game released, we have Thing, who is an off tank. Emma, who, like I said, hybrid between TP anchor tank and hybrid between anchor tank and off tank. Angela, who is an off tank, and from the gameplay footage and the dev vision that came out later this week, Deadpool, who feels like he's gonna be more like Mr. Fantastic, who's a DPS that pretends to be a tank sometimes with high survivability, because it looked like only his right click changed and he now has 500 health. But we'll have to see. I don't know. But I want more because when I play off tank, when I play tank, I want to play an anchor tank. I want to feel like I am a tank for the team. I am a wall. I take space. I make space. I fight. When I play the off tanks, I don't feel that way. I don't feel like I'm playing tank. I feel like I'm playing a big old DPS. I'm playing DPS, but with a much bigger health bar. Angela feels like that. Thor feels like that. Thing feels like that. Thor can be played on the front lines. I'm not trying to say that he doesn't, but your goal as Thor is to get picks, not to push people back or counter, or it's to get picks. You abduct their front line to get picks. As Mag, I shoot at the back line. My goal isn't, like, obviously I want to kill them, but I am not going to solo kill them. That's almost never going to happen. He doesn't have that good of damage unless I just happen to find someone out of position. I can left click, right click, left click without any interference. But that's not a very high opportunity. It doesn't happen that much. The goal there is to get them to back up or go behind walls where they get less healing, and now that they get less healing, I can move forward because they have to move back. I am taking space. I am forcibly making space. I want more tanks like that. Strange is supposed to be able to do the same thing, except he's more offensive with it. He uses the animation cancel. He's supposed to push the other tank backwards, explode on them, and then they lose their... Like, they can't stay up there against him for too long. They have to fall back. Thing is not an anchor tank. You could, even if you make the argument that he is an anchor tank because he plays on the front line and he punches them and he hits the back line with his right click, and it's supposed to use that in order to push people backwards. He's not very good at it because he just gets shot and dies. He has no damage reduction tools. When I'm playing Mag, it is not helpful for me to peel. I should not be peeling as Mag. I can turn around and throw a bubble, but then I need to turn back around and look at their team, hit their strategists. They're behind me. I'll throw up Iron Curtain, the big rectangle shield, his shift. I throw up that one, and then they can't get healing because I'm blocking it, and you're supposed to kill him, right? I lose value on mag if I peel. Now on Strange it's different because of the high damage that I mentioned with the E and the explosion, the burst. But I want more tanks that do that feel like I'm doing that. When I'm on grouped, I feel like I'm doing that. I place walls, I force them to back up because they can't get healing through the walls, and then I could just keep applying pressure. Even if I don't kill any their tanks or kill their DPS with the walls, I am taking their space away just by putting a wall down. I feel like I'm doing it with Emma. I can do a good amount of damage output, that way they can't do it. If I'm playing the anchor tank as Emma, I can W key, I can force them to back off, I can use my diamond form to kick someone into my team to leave them without a tank, and therefore their tank dies behind us when I put up the shield, and I can keep pumping damage on the front line. We kill the tank because of I could position, and now it's a 5v6 and we can take that space. I want more tanks that do that, not another off tank, because at least to me, those feel like they end up becoming big old DPSs. I love playing Captain America, but you can't convince me that I feel like I'm playing a tank and not a DPS with a big health bar. I'm doing the same thing that Iron Fist, Daredevil, Spider-Man, Magic. I'm doing the same thing they do. Dive in, brawl, mess them up, leave, dive in, brawl, mess them up, leave, dive in, brawl, get picks. That's the gameplay loop. Same gameplay loop with Hulk, except, you know, Hulk's a little more versatile with the shield. And obviously there's more versatile things you have to do, like when do you put up the shield, when do you not put up the shield, when do you go back to your front line, when do you brawl their front line because you still need heals, when do you peel, things like that. But that's also things that the DPS, the dive DPS need to know how to do. So I feel like I'm doing that. I don't know. Maybe that's just a me problem, but please give me more tanks that like feel like I'm playing a tank. Because when I play tanks in like OPGs and because this is the first like hero shooter I've played. I've said that before. I play casually, first hero shooter I've played. When I play tanks in other types of games, I want to feel like a wall, and sure I won't have as much damage, but I can block a lot of damage. I help my team through utility rather than sheer damage output, and I like that feeling, and there just isn't a lot of tanks for it. I don't know. Let me know what you think about the state of tanks in this game, because that's kind of what I'm talking about, I guess. And tell me what kind of tanks you want, because Absorbing Man would be a crazy cool tank. So would Sandman. Like, I think a lot of people could be made into a tank just by making them more buff. So yeah, let me know what you guys want, what you guys think. That's about it. Wet Willy.